Hello, BookTube. I'm going to try and make this video. I'm going to try and come back. I've been trying for a while now. Happy New Year to all of you. I hope you all had a wonderful New Year's Eve. I've made a few tries at making videos, and you can always tell, I can always tell when it's not quite time for me to do it yet, because I will forget to turn on the camera, or that the camera is on. Open a book and start reading it and forget that you were there. So we're going to try this again. These first few videos will be a little more awkward than even my awkward usual videos, because for some reason coming back this year is harder. So rather than do anything elaborate and ambitious to start off, I thought I would jump on a bandwagon. I watched Kamil at What Kamil Reads today, and he made a sarcastic comment about how making a 2019 goals video is something that no one's done before. He made one. It was really good. I'll leave a link to it down below. I thought, why not do that myself, especially since at the end of 2018 I couldn't talk about 2019 goals with anything like awareness. I didn't know anything about 2019. Now that 2019 is slowly ratcheting into place, I am able to think about it as a field of endeavor. And I have goals, some specific, some general, so I thought I'd go through them. 3 areas, 3 goals each. So the first area is reading. We'll do reading, writing, and BookTube. And for reading, goal number 1 is purely numerical. It's to beat my year-end reading tally for 2018. 2018, I read more books than in any other previous single year of my life, and I'm hoping to beat that in 2019. There's nothing wrong with that. As long as I'm enjoying the books, there's nothing wrong with that. So that's goal number 1. Then goal number 2 is to read more contemporary poetry, and not just read more of it, but understand more of it. Grapple more with it. I had a hard time. You've seen a little bit of that on this channel, but of course that struggle's been going on a lot longer than I've been on BookTube. I've had the hardest time with it, and I finally realized why. I think realized why I've been having a hard time feeling adequate to the task. That is never a question with me when it comes to any other kind of reading. Whether or not my thoughts about that subject might be of interest to an audience once I'm done and formulate those thoughts, sure, that's one thing. But whether or not I am able to get that subject, I don't think that way about any other subject, any other genre. And I have for years thought that way about contemporary poetry, and it was in 2018 that I finally realized that the problem there wasn't that contemporary poetry is somehow operating on difficult to understand levels or principles. It's that the idea, the crafting, the conceptualizing of contemporary poetry is something that is really difficult to understand, that you have to be on the right wavelength to get it at all, is a lie. I don't know why that didn't occur to me earlier. Of course that is a lie. Of course that is a lie created by contemporary poetry. Wouldn't anybody be tempted to create such a lie about their own endeavor? What's the best thing that you could possibly do about a field in which you want to make a name without working? Is to say that you're already making a name, to say that success and skillful execution will no longer be visible. It's the same scam that modern art works, where you stretch a canvas over a frame, and then without doing anything to it, you apply varnish, and then you open up that completely blank canvas for international bidding. You have done nothing. You are a fraud. You scribble on a canvas and then apply varnish and put it up for multinational bidding. That scam works really well. If you can convince enough people, it's a Corcoran. You know, he's a filthy, loathsome, disgusting brute, yet I cannot look away. If you convince enough people that what you're doing is art, you don't have to work. And in 2018, I realized that contemporary poetry is no different than any other form of snake oil hucksterism. There will be people who will think that, and who will actively do that, and who will dress in a skin-tight black t-shirt when they are several cafe lattes north of being able to dress in skin-tight black, and they will go to the basement reading, and they will get up on stage and sniff with disdain for the audience, or maybe just revulsion because the audience hasn't bathed in a month, and neither have they. And then they'll start to just sort of shout, slur, surl their spoken lines, stopping ostentatiously to take cell phone calls and have conversations while the audience waits. All that sort of stuff, all that sort of performance crap. 2018 is the year when I kind of decided, no, the literary tastes and powers of observation that I have honed over decades do not suddenly stop working when I cross the border into contemporary poetry. If I read a contemporary poet and a contemporary poem and it strikes me as really, really bad, and then I read it again, and then I read it a third time, and it still strikes me as bad, and I can enumerate the ways that it strikes me as bad, then it is bad. It's not that I'm not getting it. It's that it's bad. So, and once I came to that realization in 2018 and then really owned it in 2019, that gets really exciting, because that means there's a whole new genre out there that I have been ignoring. Because, and I admit, this is the viewpoint from, sorry I'm groping every once in a while, I'm still coming back to English as well, so this is the viewpoint from which I view things, which is that if I cannot critically engage with it, I ignore it. And so I have been largely ignoring contemporary poetry because I was under the impression I could not critically engage with it. That is not true. And now that I know that's not true, that opens up contemporary poetry to me. It means I can dive in. That's fantastic. That's a very exciting feeling. And the third reading resolution is kind of connected to that. It's not quite contemporary. I don't think a lot of young people out there would call T.S. Eliot a contemporary poet. Nevertheless, he's never done anything for me. His poetry has never done anything for me. And in 2018, the fates aligned. They provided me with critical studies. They provided me with a biography. They provided me with a lovely new critical set of Eliot's poems. They aligned to nudge me towards reconsidering him in 2019. So he is among the other authors that I will reconsider in 2019. He's the only poet. So those are my three goals, my reading goals. I mean, there'll be others, of course, but I mean, the general reading goal is always to be adventurous, to be open-minded, to be flexible, and to be hugely hungry. But those are the three specific reading goals. Beat my year-end tally, which I hope that I will be able to do. Read more contemporary poetry, and re-examine T.S. Eliot from the ground up, biographically, literarily, everything. Then we go on to writing goals. I have writing goals in 2019. There are quite a few, again, not just three, but I'll list three. Number one is there are writing projects that I have in mind. There are three writing projects that I will be doing in 2019. Two of them, I know this is going to sound very tedious. This is going to sound very ordinary YouTuber, clickbaity, get over yourself. But nevertheless, legitimately, two of the three I cannot talk about. I can't stand booktubers who do that. I got a big event coming up next week. Can't tell you anything about it, but thought I'd mention it. I hate them. I hate them as much as you do. But nevertheless, for legitimate reasons, I cannot talk about two of those projects. And those of you Weisenheimers might say, well, what about those booktubers that you say you hate? Maybe they have legitimate reasons. They don't. Only I do. Okay? So zip it. But the third writing project for 2019 I can talk about, and that is a sword and sorcery thriller called The Red Bishop. It's premiering in the good old-fashioned pulp fiction zine put out by our very own Matt at Paperback Junky. Weird Mask. Those of you who watch his channel will know that he's an old pulp aficionado. Also, those of you who have perhaps read Weird Mask will know that in addition to being an old pulp aficionado, he's also learned some good lessons from those old pulp masters because he's really not that bad a zine editor. He puts together a very entertaining and well-balanced product. Try doing it. It's not easy. It's a talent, and he has it. And and in 2019, it's a fantasy zine, and those of you that's short for fanzine or magazine, and the old fantasy zines used to stress serialized adventures. So you get, and this was the big names. This is John Campbell and all the others, as well as all of the amateur fanzines. They stress serialized adventures. So you get one installment, and then you have to wait for the next issue to get the next installment. I love that. I loved those stories, and I am having a ball writing one of my own. The Red Bishop is my own ongoing serialized sword and sorcery fantasy in Weird Mask. So I'll leave a link to Matt's channel. Just I confess I'm a little bit unclear of some of the practical details, like where you can get Weird Mask, how much it costs, whether or not it's online electronically, or anything like that. So I encourage you to go to his channel and bombard him with questions. I myself think that there ought not to be an electronic version of the current issue, the current run of Weird Mask 2019 ought not to be available electronically until 2020. I think if you only have to get it in the mail, that increases the zine feeling for me. Of course, I am still nevertheless fully adapted to the 21st century of writing, and in the 21st century of writing, the idea of writing something that has no electronic version, something that is not immortal, is weird. So I wouldn't advise that these things never be archived, but I don't know. I might like the idea that Weird Mask is only available as a printed zine in 2019, and then when we're on to 2020, 2019 will then be available electronically. But one way or another, you'll want to bombard the Paperback Junky with all of those questions to get all the lowdown on Weird Mask. So much fun. Oh my. I thought I had done this before. Of course, some of you will be nodding. Those precious little kinds of writing that I haven't done before. I have done this before, but I had completely forgotten how much fun it is. And when you read, I don't know when it will appear, but when you read the first chapter of The Red Bishop, don't be fooled. The first chapter of The Red Bishop ends with a twist that you didn't see coming, but it doesn't end on a cliffhanger. And I understand perfectly well that the primary goal of zine writers, of serialized fiction, is to end every chapter on a cliffhanger. Believe me, I know how to do that. I think there's one person watching this channel that remembers something called null time. I think so, and if so, you'll remember. I know how to do a cliffhanger. I didn't do it in the first one, but I will. But anyway, that's writing goal number one, is to keep to do those writing projects in 2019, including The Red Bishop. Then writing goal number two is professionalists, right? Those of you who are new to the channel, there are quite a few of you who are new to the channel. Hello, welcome. It doesn't get any better than this, I'm afraid. Technically speaking, it's still just a weird old guy with smallpox scars from 1782. But I am a professional book reviewer, and in 2018 I had 3 reviewing goals, and that was to add venues. I appear in a number of venues, and I wanted to add 3 new venues in 2018. One in a small town in India, one in a small town in Ireland, and one in a small town in Iowa. None of those 3 things happened. 2018 was a very good year for reviewing, for me, but none of those 3 things happened, and I am not imaginative. I still want all 3 of those things to happen. So, those are still 3 goals. I still want to add more venues in 2019. I love writing about books. I love talking about their pros and cons. I love that so much, unabatedly, more than I ever have. I want as big an audience doing that as possible, which probably means more venues. So I want those 3 locations. And if you are in rural Iowa, rural India, or rural Ireland, and you have an idea, a way, a contact, please feel free to let me know. But otherwise, I'm just going to keep beating the bushes. But I will also beat the bushes from lots of other places too, because that one of the writing goals is to reach more audiences. Most of my financial needs are met by a couple of different ongoing things that I have, so I'm free to concentrate only on venue. concentrate only on reaching new audiences. So that small town Iowa newspaper does not need to pay me a king's ransom. Nobody does. Nobody needs to pay me a king's ransom. But anyway, that's the second writing goal. And then the third writing goal, of course, is NaNoWriMo. National Novel Writing Month every year in November. The whole world comes together to write a novel, the beginning of a novel, 50,000 words in November. And I'm definitely going to do that. I have no idea what I will do. But I'm kind of thinking that since I have ongoing writing projects, that 2 of which are fiction, in 2019, that I'm probably thinking that NaNoWriMo this year will be pure escapism for me. But I don't know. I never know until I'm closer to the day. But I was also wondering if maybe this year I should finally buckle down and try Camp NaNoWriMo as well. I haven't ever done that. I've come close. I'd love to hear stories. If some of you have tried Camp NaNoWriMo, is it fun? Will I enjoy it? But anyway, so those are 3 writing goals. The broader writing goal, just like the broader reading goal, the broader writing goal is to do more writing, to always be writing. Don't ever think of writing something you need to take time off from. I love it so much that I'm not in danger of thinking that way. And then the third category is BookTube. BookTube goals. I am on BookTube. I am back. I am fully determined to be on BookTube in 2019. I loved it so much in 2018, but of course nothing carries over. So I had to wait and see. And now I'm back, and I love it. I love seeing your faces, so I'm not going anywhere, I'm afraid to say. There's a broader BookTube goal as well. It's broader in the sense of Iowa, India, and Ireland. It's broader in the sense of that sort of thing. And that is that, of course, in 2019, unless the sky falls in, this channel will hit 2,000 videos. Which, as far as I know, is completely unprecedented on BookTube. No one has ever done 2,000 videos. We shall see. I haven't done the count, but I don't think we're far off. I think we're a month or 2 away at most from video number 2,000, which is kind of amazing. But in addition to that, there are 3 specific BookTube goals. And the first one connects with one of my reading goals, which is about contemporary poetry. I have decided that if I am going to study, if I'm going to delve, if I'm going to wade in to contemporary poetry, I'm dragging you with me. So I'm going to do a regular feature on this channel called Poet Tuesday. Every single Tuesday from now until the end of time, in addition to all the other natterings that I do in the videos of that day, we're going to examine a poem. Probably something contemporary, something that comes to me in the mail, or that I read online, something that isn't in an anthology, that isn't Henry Wadsworth Longfellow. We're gonna read a poem every Tuesday. In addition to everything else, we're gonna do Poet Tuesday. And then number 2 is to do more read-alongs. Of course, we stopped with read-alongs for December, and I don't know. January is going to have to be a little. We've missed a weekend already in January, so that's going to be tricky. But those of you who are new to the channel, on Sundays we do read-alongs. Here, I announce a book. I announce the segments that we're going to do it in, the time order that we're going to do it in, and then we read along with a book. I'd love to hear from you what you want to do about January. January has already got a jump on us. The weekend is almost here. There's no preparation time. So I'm not sure what to do. I guess we could do the last 3 weekends in January and just do something shorter. So let me know. But read-alongs are definitely going to continue. Unfortunately, the more I thought about it, the more I realized that buddy reads. I always complain, humorously, that nobody ever invites me to buddy reads because they hate me, because I smell. But I have been invited to a couple of buddy reads, and, BookTube, they don't seem to really work for me. The whole, we're on Voxer and we're leaving messages for each other and we're reading the same book at the same time. I've tried it and it doesn't really work. If it's a new book, I'm done with it in an hour and 15 minutes. And, so after 3 weeks, everybody else in the Voxer buddy read is talking about something that I read 100 books ago. And if I have read it already, then chances are I know it quite well. In which case, I'm not going to have much to contribute to a discussion that is composed of 4 other people, all 4 of whom have never read it before. There's going to be, in all the buddy reads that I've done so far, I'm not complaining. I've been very grateful to be invited. But in all the buddy reads that I've done so far, there has been one or another of that kind of drastic mismatch of tempo, of approach vector, if you want to put it that way. So I don't think that buddy reads are for me, but read-alongs definitely are. So we'll do more of those. I have a couple of fiendish plans, and I think a lot of you have mentioned our poor forgotten Anthony Trollope, which is absolutely true. We read the first book in a series by Anthony Trollope. We need to read the second and all the rest in 2018. So maybe that will be the next one. And these things don't have to start and finish in a month. That's just the anal retentive Steve. We can start it next week. I'll think about it, and I'll read all your comments, and I'll email people and see. And then the third BookTube goal for 2019 is more collaborations. Buddy reads might not work, but I would love to do more collaborations. I would love to join in on events. There are a whole bunch of events that I think I am going to be joining in on. And they all sound like fun. We all know each other now, and even those of you who are new to BookTube who want to create an event and join in, there's no better way to get to know people than that. So there are a few things that are already in the works. I'm not sure how at liberty I am to talk about them in this particular video, but there'll be other videos. But if you have an idea for a collaboration of some kind, sing out. And if you've already done such an idea and I might be interested in joining in, let me know about it. I watch a lot of BookTube, but I don't see everything. And that's it. Those are some of my goals for 2019. As Kamil put it, a very predictable kind of video, but comforting in that way. And I'm kind of amazed. I managed to get through this video without simply wandering away from the camera or starting to talk in Gaelic or anything like that. I managed to get through this video correctly, actually talking to you. So I think, actually upload this, which is amazing. This is the first successful attempt. This bodes well for my subsequent attempts. So before anything goes wrong, I'll wrap this up. Those are some of my goals for the upcoming year. And if I remember, I hope I remember, but forgetting is always a problem on this channel, and it's going to be much worse in early January until I fully coalesce. But if I remember, I'll leave all the links down below to everything that I've talked about. And in the meantime, I'll wrap this up. It's very nice to be back. So I will see you soon. Thank you, BookTube.